As the spring arrives in the UK, London's cherry blossom trees are starting to blossom again. Here's a rundown of some of the best places to catch them and the magical aura they create in the capital this spring. April is all about cherry blossom in London. Spring is arguably one of the most beautiful times of the year in London. The evenings get longer, the weather gets warmer, and the city is covered in bloom. The streets and parks are filled with some of the prettiest of pink trees, full of cherry blossoms. There are so many pretty places with blooming trees in London that you could spend months hunting them down. Starting out in the early spring with early blossoms and magnolias, followed by wisteria and cherry blossoms, London bursts with color. Admiring the springtime blooms is a bit of a national obsession, common to both Britain and Japan. Here in the United Kingdom, we are known for seasonally swooning over daffodils, snowdrops, and glades of bluebells. But we do also proudly boast a good number of cherry trees, both imported, Japanese, and wild. While it is widely believed that cherry blossoms originated somewhere in Eurasia, Himalayas, scholars speculate cherry blossoms immigrated to Japan sometimes several thousand years ago and spread throughout the country before the prehistoric age. Where exactly can you find cherry blossom in bloom in London? Generally, April is cherry blossom or sakura in Japan month in London, but the blooms can appear as early as March and last as late as May. If it's been a mild spring, blossom arrives earlier. A cold spring means it won't flower until later. Different varieties of cherry blossom tree blossom at different times. The average tree only blossoms for about 2 weeks, so it's no use planning to go back at the weekend to get that Instagram shot, or it might not be there. Happily, the cherry blossom season usually coincides with the magnolia season, making certain corners of the city something of a pink wash for a couple of beautiful weeks. And where exactly can we find cherry blossoms in London? Firstly, you can find it at Kew Gardens. It's London's biggest botanical garden. Is the obvious place to go for a bit of blossom bothering. Head to the Rose Garden behind the famous Palm House. Here, you'll find multiple different varieties of cherry blossom tree, their variant colors working in beautiful harmony. And you can get a great shot with the Palm House in the background. And where else can we find them? Of course, we can find them at Kyoto Garden, Holland Park. It is Japan's famous for its breathtaking cherry blossom trees, so it makes sense that London's Japanese Kyoto Garden is home to some sakura. The pale pink trees tower over the garden's koi carp pond and miniature waterfall, adding a splash of color to the Zen haven. And you can find cherry blossoms as well in Greenwich Park. Climb up the Greenwich Park hill and head beyond the observatory and planetarium. Follow the vehicular Blackheath Avenue until a perpendicular footpath on the right branches off towards Ranger's House and Rose Garden. Along this straight path, trees lean into each other, creating a Japanese-style cherry blossom tunnel. This is the closest you'll get to Japan in London. No surprise that it's teeming with photographers. The benches underneath make it a great spot for a romantic picnic, if there's any space. And you can find cherry blossom trees as well at St. Paul's Cathedral and in Regent's Park. and in St. James's Park, and some as well in Herne Hill, in Kensington Gardens, Battersea Park. Just recently, I have visited Alexandra Palace, and to my surprise, this was what I got. Questions about how long cherry blossom season lasts and when it starts are quite common, but it can vary from year to year. The average peak bloom date when 70% of the flowers of the blossoms open is usually around April the 4th or 4th of April, but it can also happen as early as 15th of March and as late as 18th of April. In general, the entire blooming period can last around 2 weeks, but the best time to watch for the cherry blossoms is normally between 4 and 7 days after peak bloom starts. However, the blossoms can keep going for up to 2 weeks, weather and other conditions permitting. How long is the blooming period for cherry blossoms? The blooming period is a span of several days, perhaps even a week or so, starting when 20% of the blossoms are open. It ends when the leaves take over and the flower petals have all fallen. In short, the blooming period is when you can expect to see the flowers. Each season in London showcases the city in a different way. Overflowing with blossoming flowers, spring reveals the UK capital at its most colourful. Long summer days show off a brighter side to London, while rich hues of orange, red and yellow make autumn irresistible. Come winter, the city streets and parks light up in a festive display that is a feast for the eyes. During spring, March to May, as London transitions from winter to spring, the weather can vary from warm and sunny to cold and rainy. On average, daily highs range from 53 degrees Fahrenheit to 64 degrees Fahrenheit, with lows between 43 degrees Fahrenheit and 55 degrees Fahrenheit. When packing for a trip to London in the spring, bring a warm jacket and some layers so you can easily adapt to the changing weather. How about summer during June, July, August? Summers in London are generally mild and pleasant, but not without occasional rain showers. Days are long, with high temperatures around 70 degrees Fahrenheit to 73 degrees Fahrenheit, and lows around 59 degrees Fahrenheit. While you can leave the winter wear at home, we recommend packing a light jacket or sweater for chilly summer evenings. How about autumn? Warm summer weather usually lasts through September before the temperatures begin to drop sharply in October. Expect highs ranging from 68 degrees Fahrenheit down to 53 degrees Fahrenheit, with lows around 50 degrees Fahrenheit. Autumn is usually London's rainiest season, so be prepared for wet weather. Winter, December to February. Winters in London are characterized by cold and often rainy weather. The average high between December and February is 48 degrees Fahrenheit and the average low is 41 degrees Fahrenheit. However, freezing temperatures are not uncommon and snow is not unheard of. Be sure to pack a winter coat along with a hat, gloves and scarf. Thank you very much for watching. Once again, I'm June, born in July, aka Bisayang Gamay. And see you next time for another vlog of the June Degamon Show. Maraming salamat po sa patuloy na panonood at pakikinig. God bless you all.